بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى اله واصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم لا علم لنا الا ما علمتنا انك انت العليم الحكيم. Inshallah, we'll continue our discussion on the book of major sins. And we have reached the chapter called Bab Ma Jaa fi an-Namima. We have reached the chapter called What Has Been Reported Regarding an-Namima. An-Namima. And what is an-Namima?
Like slander?
Namima is tail carrying. Tail carrying.
You know, like Kilo call.
Yeah, tail carrying. Before this chapter, we spoke about the chapter of a person with two-face. Two-face. A person with two-face. And that person, you see this person, he acts like he's with them. And you go to these people, he's acting with them. He has two faces, right? But before we get to this chapter, we want to discuss what is the meaning of major sin. What is the definition of major sin in Islam? Major sin. Huh? Fornication is fornication. Shirk. Okay. But what's the definition? You guys are giving an example, but what is the definition of major sin? Huh?
Worship is something other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, but yeah, but let's see examples though. I want definition of what do we consider as major sin in Islam?
Sins that
Like
Fornication.
take you out of the fold of Islam.
You just say, just I mean, you just want in general.
In general.
Say,
There are things that are called major sins, and what is the definition of that? Let's put it out. What's the definition of major sin?
sins that Allah prescribed a specific punishment towards, whether it be the anger of Allah, the curse of Allah,
Naam.
or punishment in this life or in the hereafter,
Naam.
mentioned in the Quran
Or the Sunnah. Yeah, Jazakallah khairan. Yes, very good. So a major sin in Islam are things that Allah threatens a person with. Anyone that does this kind of sins, Allah threatens them whether with the hellfire or with that his anger is upon that person, or that he cursed that person, or there is a prescribed punishment for that in this life. Like a person, for example, the person who steals. We know that a person who steals, all right, if he meets a certain criteria, his hands has to be cut off. Right? Or a person who commits adultery. Right? But it's not, of course, it's not for everybody to do it. Right? But it has to be done in an Islamic court. Like a person who commits adultery, there's a specific punishment for that person. And that is stoning. Right? It's known. Right? So, but of course it's not for anybody to go and start. No. It has to be certain rules connected to that. Right? Certain regulations connected to that. Type. So the scholars, they divide sins into two. They divide sins into major and minor major sins and minor sins. The greatest of the major sin is what? Shirk. Shirk, which is polytheism, is the greatest of all sins. Associating partners with Allah is the greatest of all sins. And the second one is what? What is the after that? After shirk? After polytheism, what's the next one?
Bid'ah.
Bid'ah. Bid'ah is this. Is this? Of course, the scholars they divide. They say major sins are divided into two. They say that there's major sins and major sins. The major sins is shirk. It's polytheism. From the major sin is a person being disobedient to their parents.
From the
Right? As mentioned in the hadith. Ala akhbirukum akbar al-kabari. Prophet said, should I not inform you of the major sins? The companion, yes, oh Messenger of Allah, tell us about the major sins. He says, shirk billah, committing polytheism with Allah, wal-uquq walidain, and to be undutiful to one's parents. And he mentioned, there's another one that from major sins is qawl zur, which is qawl zur is false. No, shahadat zur, that's the shahadat zur. Shahadat zur is false witness. Qawl zur is lying. Right? So those are major sins. So from the major sin is fornication, stealing, and so on and so forth. Then we have minor sins. Minor sins are the ones that are before that. Then we have after bid'ah. We mentioned bid'ah. Before major sins, then we have bid'ah. Then we have after that was that. We have major sins. All right. So we have shirk, we have bid'ah, then we have major sins, then we have minor sins. Type. So, and we've covered a lot of chapters. So the chapter we are going to talk today is about tail carrying. Tail carrying is similar to another topic we discussed, which is backbiting. What is the difference between backbiting and tail carrying? Yeah, now.
Backbiting is when you say something about another brother behind their back or sister behind their back, which in fact, if you were in front of them, they wouldn't be pleased with it. And
Okay.
tail carrying is like spreading rumors or gossiping.
Okay. Anyone else want to help us with the question? Okay. All right. Tail carrying is when you go to this person and you say, this person said such about you. And you go back to that person like, he said such about you. So basically you want to cause corruption between the two people. For example, if a person go to a husband and say, your wife said such about you. Or a brother, like that. You go back and forth and say, he said such about you, and you go back and forth. But as far as backbiting, it's when you just, you talk about one person behind the back. And both of them are major sins. Both of them are major sins. But as far as backbiting is concerned, the foundation is haram. But there are occasions where it is permissible that a person can backbite other people. There are occasions and the scholars mentioned there are 6 situations where it's permissible for a person to backbite somebody. The first is when called al-mutadallim, a person who is oppressed, right? A person oppressed you, right? For example, you loan a brother money, and afterwards say, I'm not going to give you your money back, all right? Or a person, and he says he's not going to give you the money back. It's your right to go and talk to the imam or to the judge to say, like, look, this guy, he oppressed me. He's not going to give my money. In that case, you mentioning his name, right? It's a form of backbiting, right? So in that case, it's permissible. The second is, and of course, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, لا يحب الله جهر بسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. Allah said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, And Allah does not love that. لا يحب الله الجهر لا يحب الله الجهر بسوء من القول إلا المظلوم. Allah does not like a person to speak evil except the one who is oppressed. The one who is oppressed. So the person who's oppressed, he has the right to get his right back, and he can get his right back by asking maybe someone in authority or someone that can talk to the person to help him to get his right back. The second is describing a person and what is in them. All right? You can describe a brother, maybe a person who there's no way for you to describe them except what they have with them. It may not even be a trait that the person may not like a person who is blind, for example. Right? If he's blind, oh, that brother that's blind. Mention him like that. And Allah mentioned in Surah Abbas as well too. Abbas wa tawalla, right? Yeah. And Ja'ul A'ma, right? Allah said regarding the what's the name of this companion? That's a question for us. What's the name of the companion that Allah mentioned in Surah Abasa? You should know that. Eh? Abdullah ibn Maktoum, yes. Jazakallah khairan, yes. Is one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. It was blind. Then Allah mentioned in the Quran. He said, he frowned, Abasa wa tawalla. He frowned and he turned away. And Ja'ul A'ma, that the blind man came to him. Because the Prophet ﷺ was talking, he was trying to give da'wah to the Quraysh, the noble of the Quraysh. And the blind man came to him and he turned away from him like, you shouldn't be here right now, like you shouldn't be here right now. So but Allah reprimanded Prophet ﷺ for that you shouldn't have turned away from him. Right? So, but Allah describing him in this verse as a blind man. So when a person describing a person that possibly there's no way to a person to know him. Right? Oh, he's big. Right? Or you can mention something that is of a character that we may not, it may not be pleased with. That's permissible. The third is if you are warning against the evil that is in a person so that people can be aware of him. Right? For example, you know a person to be a criminal. All right? Or he's going to rip you off doing business with be careful of that brother. Or you have a person you want to give a person want to marry a brother. Maybe a sister want to marry a brother, and this brother is not a good brother, right? You can warn, you can say, don't marry this brother because of such and such. If you want to prevent harm from reaching that person. The fourth is when a person who is the scholars mentioned the one who have an outward appearance of fisk, meaning that the person he drinks, for example, a person who drinks, a Muslim who is drinking publicly. Say publicly. The scholars you can mention him. Also, the fifth is a person who is seeking advice. Who's seeking advice. As is mentioned, one of the hadith where one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, he came to him and he says that my husband is not spending upon me. It's not, And he said he's tight-fisted. So he had to mention the Prophet ﷺ, like, this is what's going on. So in that case, if a person is seeking advice regarding a situation, whether between husband and wife, or whether between a person in a position of authority that's trying to get advice, they say it's permissible as well. And the last one they mention is when a person is trying to have an evil removed. Right? For example, somebody want to rob you in your house. Right? You got to call it police to help to remove that evil. So from that, the scholar says it's permissible. So these are the 6 situations that the scholars mentioned. The first one is what? Let's go over again.
An oppressed person.
An oppressed person. If a person is oppressed, it's allowed for him to back by the person who's oppressed him that this person did me wrong. The second is what?
Describing a person and what is in them.
As a person within them, not you making fun of them. Right? It's not like, oh, he's stupid. No. But you're actually describing the person that's the only way to be able to identify the person. Right? The third is what?
Warning against the evil in a person.
Warning against evil in the person. Maybe the person of innovation, person of bid'ah, for example. Or a person who has evil with him. Or a criminal who can rob like that. The fourth is what?
When a person outward appearance is like displeasing or not.
Yeah, when a person is committing a sin openly. Right. The fifth,
Seeking advice regarding a situation.
seeking advice regarding the situation. Now,
And the last one is when a person is trying to have an evil removed.
if you're having an evil removed. Now, so those are the 6 conditions that's mentioned regarding backbiting. But other than these 6 things, it is not permissible for a person to backbite a Muslim type. So now the chapter we're in is tail carrying. Tail carrying is different from backbiting. Because they are similar, it is important that we mention that, so I mentioned that. So the author mentioned, he said, what that is reported regarding tail carrying. He said, what that's reported tail carrying. Tail carrying is when a person goes between 2 people. He wants to cause a division between them. So he goes to this person and says to him, oh, such and such is saying such about you. And he will go to the other person and say, such and such is such about you. This is called tail carrying. This is not permissible. And sometimes you have a situation where some brothers, they don't intend to cause corruption between people, but they just intend, some people just like to talk, right? And try to, they like drama, as they say. And they'll go and talk and talk and talk. Maybe they don't have intention of that, but they fall in the same category as well too. So the Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he says, أن النميمة يفسد في ساعة ما لا يفسده الساحر في السنة. He said, a tail carrier, he corrupts in an hour what a magician will not corrupt in a year. We know a magician, from the work of the magician is that what? Or the suits, the magician, let's put it that way. What they do is that they try to cause corruption between people, for those who know about those stuff like that. Some people go to the suits here, the magician sometimes, they say that, billah, I want the husband to hate his wife. Or I want the wife to hate the husband. And the suit, they do this evil stuff like this. Or a brother to hate another brother. So the Sheikh says that a tail carrier, he corrupts in an hour what a magician cannot corrupt in a year. Because this is happening quicker than what a magician can do. The Sheikh says, فالواجب على المؤمن أنه إذا سمع كلاما يقال في حق مسلم ألا يكتفي بالسميع or سماع والسكوت. He said it is obligatory upon a Muslim that if he hears something being said about another Muslim, that he stops and just listen. But rather he should But لابد له أن ينصح المتكلم. But rather it's appointed to advise the person who's telling him. Advise him. Don't tell me about him. Unless the person is asking for the things that we mentioned. Whether it's asking for advice about a particular situation or he's trying to have an oppressed situation removed. All right? If your situation doesn't fall in this, all the 6 categories mentioned, you should not allow a person to talk to you about another person. You should not allow it. The Sheikh says, he said, بل لابد له أن ينسى المتكلم ويبين له أن هذا حرام وغيبة. So the Sheikh is mentioning, even though he's putting two, he's using both of them. He said, it is upon you to advise that brother to say to him, the person who's telling the story, that this is not permissible and this is ghiba. He said, ولا يذهب أن ينقل الكلام للمتكلم فيه. فهذه هي صفات المؤمن. He said, this is that you do not let the person carry the speech from you, That this is from the character of the Muslim, to stop the person from doing that. He said, أما المنافق فإنه يفرح بما حدث من أجل أن يفسد ويقع العداوة بين الناس. He says, as for an hypocrite, he likes stuff like this. He likes that. He likes to carry speech between the people so that this corruption can happen between the people. He said, وَالنَّمِيمَ شَرُّ وَفَسَادِ. He said, namima, tale carrying, is evil and is a corruption. Type. So the Sheikh mentions, now he's going to mention some of the narration that's been mentioned regarding this. In Surah Al-Qalam, Allah mentioned the person who walks with tail carrying. Hamazin Masha'in bin Namim. He said he is a person, he's a tail carrier. He goes around carrying tails. Allah commanded a person not to listen to a person like this who swears and carry tails. In hadith, the Prophet said, "La yadkhul jannata an-namam." The Prophet said that a tail carrier will not enter paradise. A tail carrier will not enter paradise. The Sheikh says regarding this person, he said, "Annahu la yadkhul jannah li'annahu kafir." He said he's not going to enter Jannah. It's not that he's not going to enter Jannah because he's a disbeliever. He says, ولكن هذا من باب الوعيد لأنه سيدخل النار ويهذب فيها طويلا. He says, but the reason why he mentioned this is so that to threaten a person who carries tails, to threaten him that if he does not stop this, he will enter the hellfire and he will be punished there for a long time. Then he's good. After he's punished in the hellfire for a long time, he will come out. A disbeliever is the only one that's going to be punished in the hellfire forever. But as for a believer who commits sins like tail carrying, he's going to be punished. He may be punished in the hellfire, then he's going to come out of the hellfire and go to Jannah. Type. So the Sheikh says, and then he mentioned a hadith. He mentioned the hadith of two people that the person one day, the Prophet was walking. He was walking past the grave. It was walking past the graveyard. And he said that two people are being punished in their grave right now. And the Prophet is giving that miracle where Allah informs him of things that happen. So he was walking past the graveside. He said two two people are being punished in the grave right now. It said, as for the one of them, he's being punished because he used to soil himself with urine. Right? A person, for example, he goes to the bathroom. Some people, when they use the bathroom, akramakumullah, they don't clean themselves properly. Excuse me. They don't clean themselves properly. They don't clean themselves, and the urine gets on their clothes or on their skin, on their body. This is also a major sin, that a person do not clean himself properly. So the Prophet is saying that this person here, this person who's been punished in the grave, is being punished because that he used to soil himself with urine. Meaning never used to clean himself properly. As for the second one, he said, he used to tail carrying. And we know from the belief of Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, from the belief of the people of Sunnah, is that when a person dies, the two angels are going to come to him. And inshallah, when we get to, inshallah, we're going to start another book, inshallah, on Friday. It's called Sharh Sunnah by Imam al-Barbahari. And some of these issues we'll be discussing them. What is the belief of our Muslim is that when a person dies, two angels are going to come to him. One is going to be on his right, and one is to the left. The name of the two angels are called what? What's the name of the two angels? Anyone? You should know it. Munkar and Nakir. Jazakallah khair. Yes. The name of the two angels. Munkar and Nakir. Right? Munkar and Nakir. So the two angels are going to come to the person. And in the narration, they say that his family of the person will be walking away. He will be hearing their footsteps while they are walking away. His family is going to leave him there. He's in the grave. And the angel is going to come to him. And they're going to ask this person the three questions. What are the three questions?
Who is your Lord?
Yeah. Who's your Lord? Huh?
What is your religion?
What is your religion? Okay. What's the third one?
Who is your messenger?
Who is the messenger? Who is the man that was sent to you?
Yeah, sent to me, yeah.
Who's the man that was sent to you? So everybody is going to be asked three questions. Who's your Lord? What's your religion? Huh? And who is that man that was sent to you? Meaning Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That if a person, as for a believer, that Allah give firmness to, he will say, my Lord is Allah, and my religion is Islam, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger that was sent to me. But as for a person who does not believe, as a disbeliever or an hypocrite, who does not really believe in it, he will say, and he will say, I heard people say such and such, and I say just like them. I heard something and I say like them. And this mention regarding that if the person who said the wrong answer, who doesn't have the answer for the three streets, that they're going to hit it with a hammer. You happy, Sheikh?
No, it's not funny though.
It's not funny.
No, it's not funny, it's man.
They say that the angels are going to hit him with a hammer. That the hammer, that if the human beings, if human hear this person is going to scream. They're going to hit him hard, that everything will be able to hear except human beings. The animals will be able to hear the scream of this person. The scholars, they mentioned that if people hear it, we're going to pass out. Because the scream of that person is terrifying. Imagine of a person scream that you hear that's terrifying, that scare you. They said that everything will be able to hear this scream except human being. And if human being hear this scream, it will fall, pass out. Type. So the Prophet mentioned in this hadith that the people that were being punished in their graves, and of course the person punished in the graves, depending on their sin, if it's disbelief, they're going to be punished until the establishment of the hour. It's from a belief of our belief as Muslims is that a person will be punished in their graves until Yawm al-Qiyamah, until the resurrection of the hour that everybody will be resurrected from their graves. Now, even with that, when the punishment of the hereafter of the resurrection is even greater than the punishment in the graves. So the Prophet mentioned that hadith. Type. So inshallah, I think we'll stop there, inshallah. If there are any questions, we'll take it. If not, we'll continue, inshallah, next week. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Question, inshallah?
So this
No.
class will be one day each week?
Yeah, all the classes are going to be one day a week. We have 4 classes. On Monday we have Kitab al-Tawheed after Maghrib, inshallah. And we're going to post it. Working on the flyers, inshallah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I give it to somebody else. The brother will do, inshallah. So on Monday we have Kitab al-Tawheed after Maghrib. On Wednesday we have this book, the Book of Major Sins. On Saturday, we're going to start a new book called Sharh Sunnah al-Barbahari. This is what this is going to, inshallah, we're going to learn the Sunnah. What is the meaning of a Sunnah? What is the meaning of Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah? What is Islam? And so on and so forth. And some of the things that we mentioned, we're going to learn a lot of issues connected to Aqidah as well too. Like issues like we mentioned regarding the belief in angels, and the belief of the punishment of the grave, and so on and so forth. So, well, that's going to be coming, inshallah. It's going to be on Saturday on Friday after Maghrib, inshallah. And on Saturday we have a class on the etiquette of walking to the masjid, which we were doing before Ramadan, and inshallah that's inshallah.
I was waiting on you.
That inshallah, خلاص. Saturday we're gonna put it after Maghrib as well too. I think Maghrib inshallah is better, inshallah. So that's inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.